They're on to me, dude. Those guys are sharp as nails up there. You can't put anything past them. Oh my God, dude, I'm freaking out. I am so stressed out. I feel like I'm having a panic attack.
You want to talk about stress? You want to talk about stress? Okay? I've stumbled onto a major company conspiracy pack. How about that for stress? Take a look at this. Jesus Christ. That right there is the mail. Now let's talk about the mail. Can we talk about the mail, please, Mac? I'm dying to talk about the mail with you all day, okay? Pepe Sylvia. This name keeps coming up over and over again. Every day, Pepe's mail getting sent back to me. Pepe Sylvia, Pepe Sylvia. I look at the mail. Well, this whole box is Pepe Sylvia. All right, so I start marching my way down to Carol and HR, and I knock on her door and I say, Carol! Carol, I gotta talk to you about Pepe! Fine, you know what, Barney? Give this guy a cigarette. He's freaking out. Huh? Who? Barney. He's the guy who tipped me off to Pepe Sylvia. Barney? Who the hell is Barney? You don't see that? Oh, shit. What the hell did he...
You've lost your mind. You've lost your goddamn mind, Charlie.
What is going on, y'all? Oh my God. So much mail from Carol! Carol! Man, ladies and gentlemen, it is trade deadline week for quite a bit of the leagues. I know our Dynasty League, as soon as this game is over, which judging by the score, it looks like it may have been over a little bit ago. Yeah, man. It's interesting because I feel like that, dude. I feel like I am blowing you up with not mail but text messages, and we're hopping on conference calls. We're trying to figure out how to move some of our picks, get some value, because we're building for next year, right?
Yeah.
But we don't got to worry about next year.
Nope.
We got to worry about today and the now. And how are you doing right now and today, bud?
I'm doing well. Of the 74 leagues that we're in,
they went down because they're like 17,000 last time I heard.
Yeah, 17,000. Yeah, it changes. But yeah, no, I'm about 50-50 in the leagues that I'm in. So one league just doesn't trade, or if it's a trade, if we even propose a trade, it's like the worst. Either I have to give them Bijan Robinson. I'm like, okay, I'll trade Bijan Robinson. Who do you want? And they go, we'll give you Romeo Dobbs. And I'm like, what do you think makes a good trade for that? So a lot of those leagues are like that. Still filling it out there. I will give you Devontae Adams for Aaron Jones. Just saying it out loud for the third week in a row. Take it if you want it.
Interesting. Two former Packers in a package deal.
Yeah.
I like that, man. I like that. But yeah, no, we're talking trade deadline. Sorry, and they are here. That's where it's just so tough to look at the future as well as base everything that value-wise off the past, because you're basing it off of what they have done, but then still nothing is promised. They could get injured next week when you trade.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing with like
scenarios that can happen.
Yeah, I mean, we're floating out there with like the Breece Hall situation. People are like, he's a big name. Yeah. Do you trade him now, and get value off of him, and then he might go off? That's the risk of it. But I don't think you should fully tilt if you have a crew of other running backs, and it's not like he's my number 2. So then I got to trade to get. You're not going to replace Breece Hall through the aggregate type of thing. I just don't think so. Now, it has been underwhelming. Yeah, so has Tyreek Hill and Christian McCaffrey, CMC. Sorry, CMC,
MCDC,
MCDC. Yeah, CMC has been underwhelming. I mean, so there's definitely always going to be bust. You can't predict that Tua Tagovailoa was going to go out like by week 3, and then Tyreek's going to be just he finally got a touchdown tonight. But they're finally back and getting back in motion again. And the Miami Dolphins are looking like they're going to beat the Rams. And they looked like they couldn't put one foot in front of the other when Tua was out. And then you look at like Christian McCaffrey, blame it on the 49ers at that point, because they should have called him out way before the drafts even happened.
Yeah, very weird situation in which they didn't really divulge what was going on. They just, kind of, everything's fine. And then, no, he's on IR. Then, he's actually going to be out for most of the season.
Yeah.
He did come back.
Yeah. It took 10 weeks, though,
yeah.
for the fact of,
Yeah.
like, going into the week 1, they were like, oh, yeah, he might have some calf strain or whatever, but he'll be good for week 1. And then all the drafts happen, and then literally 24 hours before week 1, they were like, yeah, he's out. And then divulged, and then, like, more and more tests were happening. So it's like, why were you holding on to that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, unless something just happened where he came back for practice, but I feel like we would have heard that, like if there was the truth of a matter of him coming and trying it out, and then it just not filling up to par, then that's when they went that direction. I feel like there would have been a report somewhere saying that, but yeah, for them to kind of conceal it, who knows? Maybe there's some sanctions or some fines in the future for the Rams organization, or not Rams, but sorry, the 49ers organization. Yeah, Rams, dude. Yeah, we'll see what's going on here, man. But yeah, currently it's 23-12. If y'all are watching live, that is. Miami Dolphins up 23, and the Rams. I mean, 12 points. I mean, you got Puka Nacua, you got Cooper Kupp, you've got
Kyron Williams,
Demarcus Robinson now.
Yeah,
you got your boy Kyron. I mean, the Dolphins' defense have been kind of floundering, right? So to say. But maybe they tightened up a little bit tonight. Now, I haven't really got to watch much of the tape because I spent far too much time making that tape that you just watched on the way in. But anyways, what we do talk about Christian McCaffrey. He is back, bud, and didn't really necessarily crack the top 10 overall. But he did top the top 10 in running backs. Mm-hmm. And that is of 7 p.m. when we report these reports. So he did get 17 points, 13 carries for 39 yards, no touchdowns. But really, I mean, 6 receptions for 7 yards, or sorry, 6 receptions off of 7 targets for 68 yards.
And that's his floor. And that's why he is he's a one of one. When he plays, that's his floor.
Yeah. Yeah, no touchdowns.
Doesn't matter.
Minimal as far as yardage, but you really got to love those 7 targets, right?
Yeah. That's what he does.
Game. Yeah.
He is a one of one. That's why I always say, like, if LaDainian Tomlinson was the running back of this era of the passing and how they scheme running backs, LT would be regarded as the greatest running back of all time.
Yeah, I mean, he's in my top 5.
He's easily in the top 5. But I think he would be over the Walter Paytons and the Barry Sanders as like the full on, like, if you had a running back that could do all of that. Now, granted, we don't know the passing catchability that Barry could have had or Walter. I don't think Emmett. Emmett's kind of more of a Derrick Henry type, just not as big.
I was gonna say, man, he's definitely not near Derrick Henry.
No, but that's just the type of running style.
Back of like 6'5".
Yeah. But
I know what you're saying. Like running north and south, not east and west.
No. Of the east and west, you have Barry and Walter and Christian McCaffrey and LT are right up there. I mean, so.
Dude, oh my God, man, Barry Sanders. I just feel like he would be absolutely electric. In a slot position.
That's why he's the great. That's why he's the GOAT. Yeah, you're right. That's why he's the GOAT. Because you're like, oh, what if Barry was around for this era? He'd still be the GOAT.
He's my favorite running back. I feel like he's the BOAT, but not the GOAT. Just because he never got a ring, and because he left early. Mm-hmm. I mean, he probably still had 10 years. Tread left on those tires, but he ended up leaving early. So we'll never know. But what we do know who was in the top 10 this week, right, bud? So the overall top tight end. I'm just going to go through the names and hit on the numbers a little bit, and then we'll jump back into everything while people start getting in here. So, hey, what's going on, brother? Hey, what's up, fellas? Ready for Week 11 playoff run? Week 11 playoff run? That is hella early, dude. Yeah, I mean, let us know.
In a 14-team league, then everyone makes the playoffs?
How big is your league? Yeah, that's wild, man.
Do they not cut it off at 6?
Yeah. Let us know in the chat, man. What does your team look like, and what does your league look like? Because, good Lord, that is very early. I mean, we're talking about trade deadlines today for one league, and the other one's week 14 for the
Yeah, something like
Ruckus
that. 13, 14. Yeah.
Like the first week of the playoffs, you could trade something like that. But anyways, the top 10, we're gonna run through them real quick. You got Jamar Chase. Did it early in case you forgot. This happened on a Thursday freaking night, man. 55 points. Definitely one of the highest of this year, if not the highest. If you had him, congratulations, because he got 11 receptions on 17 targets for 264 yards and 3 motherfucking touchdowns, dude. That is insane. And of course, number 2 is the guy who threw it to him, Joe Burrow, getting 34 points, getting 2 rushing attempts for 6 yards, but really the big was 34 for 56. Not the craziest of completion percentages, but 428 yards and 4 touchdowns. Absolutely electric and insane for the Bengals. But it is week 10. This is when they wake up, guys. They just hibernate for some reason, maybe because it's too hot for them. But whenever it gets to 60 degrees, 50 degrees there in Cincinnati, those boys light it up. And I hate to see what they're going to be doing the rest of the season. But another guy not too far away in Baltimore, Lamar Jackson coming at 3. There you go. Throw it up, man. Yeah, there's only 18. Is that there's only one 8?
There's only one number 8.
Oh, one number 8. Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
It's like I thought they were trying to cleverly say 18.
No.
Yeah, there's only one Peyton Manning, right?
He was an 8.
Yeah, no, I know he was 18.
Yeah.
That was that part of the joke.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Anyways, Lamar
That's
Jackson.
me ruining another joke. That's what I do.
It's all right. It wasn't set up that well either. Lamar Jackson, though, coming in, getting 33 points. Right behind him, Jalen Hurts with 31. Looks like Bijan Robinson. I've been looking at B. Robinson far too long today.
Yeah.
In fact, if I could have had more time to edit that video, I was going to do a lot more dubbing in.
Yeah.
and Brian Robinson was going to be the fucking name, dude, because
Right.
I think we had like 10 trade offers. And
we had a lot of trade offers.
We don't even have that many teams.
No.
But no, Bijan Robinson, though, coming in at 29 points. Kyler Murray with 29. Is this his first time in 3 years in the top 10?
Something
Possibly,
like that.
because his name is not MVP, but MVS.
Yes.
Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Welcome to the top 10. Good fucking Lord, man. 26 points. Absolutely wild night there in Atlanta for New Orleans. And MVS, for some reason, it was the recipient of all that. They did get the bump, right? They got the hey, we fired our coach bump.
Yep. They got the interim bump.
Yep. So we'll see what happens next week, because that locker room may not be the most favorable to Derek Carr. But anyways, we'll see about that one. My guy pick for Andy, Calvin Ridley, coming with 25 points.
Someone's got to catch the ball for that organization now.
Man, and he's doing it. And,
Yeah, I mean, the past few weeks,
yeah.
he's been doing pretty well.
Yeah.
It just took him 8-9 weeks into the year.
Yeah. Yeah, and just not well enough, because they did end up losing to the Chargers.
Yep.
But who won their game was Carolina. One of their few games that they've won, and it was against the New York Giants, and Chuba Hubbard was a big part of that, getting 25 fantasy points. Basically getting 153 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. But then you got Brock Purdy rounding out the top 10, doing pretty good, as he always does. And in that one, I mean, that was one of the more exciting games, even though it was still low scoring. 23-20 with their win over Tampa Bay. The top 10, man. I mean, what really stands out to you, and who are we missing?
A couple of great stats that I've really enjoyed this week. Number one, obviously, the fact that we started out the week so high it was a battle this week, sir. It was a battle.
Yeah, he's talking about the Ruckus League, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And all Kyron Williams had to do was just just show out
anything.
and you didn't do it. Yeah, it's a story of the league that year. But Soul can blame me, but we lose as a team, but it's my fault. That being said, that Thursday night game was arguably probably the greatest game we've had this season. Right now, granted, if it's defense you were looking for, you really didn't have a whole lot of it. And just to put in retrospect of this rivalry in a sense, but it's really not a rivalry, and I'll explain to you a little bit more. Every game's close, but Baltimore pretty much always wins it. But to give you some stats here, Joe Burrow in the 2 games this year that he's gone against Baltimore, he's thrown for over 800 yards and 9 touchdowns. No interceptions, I believe. Jamar Chase, almost 500 yards receiving, 5 touchdowns. 0 wins against Baltimore. They're 0-2 putting up those numbers. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying the Browns don't spend money, but there's a reason they've lost those 2 games when you have your studs doing that. On the opposite end, Baltimore is usually known for defense. Not this year. But if you have the Lamar or Derrick Henry stack, you are feeling very, very good about your season. Derrick Henry didn't stop who he was. He just went on a team that was offensively so dynamic, you couldn't just put 8 in the box. And Lamar has progressed as a passer, especially this year. You can really see it. Second year in that offensive system, Lamar's on pace for 5,000 yards total, not passing or anything like that, but 5,000 yards total, on pace for his 3rd MVP. I was, as much of a Lamar fan as I am, was never expecting him to do what he's doing right now. And shout out to Baltimore for understanding what they have around them, but it doesn't matter. They're going to lose the Chiefs anyway. And Jalen Hurts, hey, guess what? When he gets his 2 dudes back, they end up playing pretty daggone well. Now, granted, the Cowboys, I don't want to talk about them. I'm over you. And then Bijan, welcome back. You finally, like, he had a slow start to the season, but now if you look back at it, I think he's so slow. But now he's top 5 in running backs for the season. Kyler, I think he played perfect for 75% of that, for 3/4 of that game. Like, as far as, like, the game in a whole, I would say 75% of it, he was perfect. He was so good. Calvin, like I said, he's just victim of circumstance. I don't expect much from him. Chuba, even going into this game, congrats to Chuba. He just signed another deal, so he's got his money. And then
man, get that bag.
Purdy was good enough.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, like you kind of talk about the statistics of the Bengals. But, but also at the same time, like, maybe the MVP isn't really just, a quarterback's trophy. Because if Lamar has won it twice and is going to win it 3 times, then that's a running back that's won the trophy. So I feel like that, is counter to that argument, right? Oh, no, Josh, looks like he lost a little bit of reception.
No. You go with the next top 10.
You go next.
Anyway, my apologies, everyone. You go over the next top 10.
You really got to go now.
Yeah, I really got to go. I was playing a bit, but then I was like, all right, I really actually need to tell them and not just leave and come back.
Your body's like, oh, we're not on camera.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, go and take care of business. He's so pissed off, he almost pissed on himself. But yeah, no. I mean, always giving a little bit of ribbing with saying Lamar Jackson is a running back because he definitely is. He's running back number 1 on that team. But Derrick Henry's doing a phenomenal job, and it's going to be an interesting race to see who wins MVP between those 2. I really would like Derrick Henry to get one since Lamar's already gotten 2. And he's done a phenomenal job, and he deserves it, man, especially this late in career. But anyways, finishing with the quarterbacks. Technically, Lamar Jackson is a quarterback. I'm sorry. Let me jump back to the weekly top 10. But first, we've got to talk about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, again, getting 34 points. on the night. That was absolutely insane to see. Absolute scoring affair between them. 34-35, not really a high total, but the yardage was definitely there, with Burrow getting 428 in the air and Jackson getting 290. To me, I think one of the bigger factors there was Jackson only getting 33 rushing yards. So he's not really helping out my argument there. But then again, after them, you got Jalen Hurts, you got Kyler Murray, Brock Purdy. But coming back into the fold is Derek Carr. Derek Carr there in a 23-20 win over Tampa Bay. 2017 over Atlanta. With MVS really helping them out. He got 20 points, getting 269 yards and 2 touchdowns. Josh Allen in their win over the Colts, getting 20 as well. And he got 22 completions for 280 yards. No touchdowns in the air, but he did get one on the ground. And then Justin Herbert getting back in it now. Getting 20 points as well. And 164 yards, 1 touchdown. Then Russell Wilson. I want to talk about this a little bit. Is he a viable option for a pickup now?
Yes. Yes.
I mean,
he has receivers to throw his moon ball. And they are letting, and Arthur Smith of all coordinators are like, yeah, fucking chuck it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll let you. That last guy we don't care about. No, shout out to Will Levis.
Yeah, I was going to get Will Levis getting 19 points as well as Russell Wilson, but and
Justin Herbert is playing extremely well. That he's finally figured the offense is finally clicking. Quentin Johnson's is good. Again, like I said, Harbaugh, I don't know what he is as a coach, but he's quirky, he's weird, he's got his stuff. But the dude wins, and the dude gets the most out of his players.
He may be autistic. Who knows? You know?
I could see that.
Yeah.
But
it's a spectrum. Everybody's on it.
Mm-hmm. Whatever spectrum the spectrum of knowing football, he is on.
Yeah.
I will say that.
Spectrum complete.
Yeah. Supreme spectrum.
Ooh.
But anyway,
Tenacious D Supreme. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Spectrum Supreme.
But yeah, so that's Justin Herbert. Again, going back to Russell Wilson. Love how you do that to me, man. Russell Wilson getting 19 points. 4 rushes for 3 yards. But really, it's the 14 completions for 195 yards and 3 touchdowns. Right? So not a whole lot of production as far as yardage. So I believe it was kind of like a turnover situation, kind of within that, why they were able to score so much. So it's kind of war of attrition or yardage in that. But, I mean, it doesn't look pretty, but it gets done, right? I mean, so, I mean, is he quarterback 2? If you got a dynasty, is he, going forward, what weeks is he really going to be the one that you're going to knock out, a top 5 or top 10 quarterback on?
He's going to do it next week. Unless the Ravens just come out and play better pass protection, or not pass protection, but just better against the pass, because they haven't been. They're the bottom 5 in defense for the season. And as soon as Russell Wilson came, and I know people were saying, "Oh, Justin Fields that," and then people were like, "We're still sticking with Russell Wilson." Like, wonder why? I'm like, I don't know. All George Pickens owners are just popping champagne right now because he finally became viable. He finally cared. He still does some weird stuff, but I would at least pick him up for a spot start against Baltimore.
Yeah, and you say picking him up against Baltimore. Baltimore by 300 yards is the worst passing defense.
Mm-hmm.
Right behind him is right behind the Ravens. Excuse me, who have 3,146 passing yards against them is the Buccaneers, then the Jaguars, then the Saints, and then Colts.
Yeah, I knew the Jags were right in the bottom 5 too.
Yeah,
and the Buccaneers are always in the bottom 5 because they're so good at stopping the run, and then their corners are just left on an island, and they're just not good enough to be left on an island.
Yeah, and I think they lost McCoy. I want to say he retired last year.
Something like
maybe,
that.
Or maybe year before. So a little bit of the trench warfare you lost there. But yeah, just definitely not the same defense, because Buccaneers was a team that in the past was prided on defense, right? Warren Sapp and that nature, just like the Ravens. But just it's not the story this year, ladies and gentlemen. So don't go off of your feeling. Don't go off of memory or even nostalgia. Go off statistics, and the statistics are still showing that. Even in the touchdown column, the Ravens have allowed 22 passing touchdowns. Right behind them are the Texans at 21, the Buccaneers, Jaguars, then the Panthers getting in there. So, yeah. So you're not wrong at all of having Russell Wilson target that defense. Are there any other defenses kind of in that ballpark that you're eyeing? Because, I mean, beginning of the year, everybody's attacking the Panthers. You wanted to have the defense against that offense because Bryce Strong's are just not it. And then Andy Dalton came in and looked good for a couple of games, and then went back to being Dalton. So that cracker fizzled out. But are there any other defenses either you're targeting for a quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, running back, or is there a team that you're targeting with a defense?
The team I'm targeting with the defense right now is the Raiders. They don't have a quarterback, and their running backs are non-existent. Alexander Madison, Zamir White, Amir Abdullah, no. Their best receiver,
I like that. No,
their best receiver is Brock Bowers. Although he's a stud, he shouldn't be your best receiver as a tight end. He was on Georgia, and Georgia definitely misses him. If you watch their offense now, and he's awesome, and I love him as if you're a tight end, if you're trying to target, if you're a Brock Bowers owner and you start a tight end every week, you're loving the fact you have Brock Bowers. But if I'm if I'm trying to find a defense to target a team, I'm targeting the Raiders.
Yeah, no,
I used to say that for the Broncos, but then Bo Nix and Sean Payton figured it out.
Yeah, seriously.
They don't score a lot.
Therefore, the Chargers weren't looking great. I mean, the AFC West period. But those first 2 weeks was just really wonky. There wasn't a whole lot of offensive production. Period.
Yeah,
really kind of stepped up lately. But
yeah, the Jags are always up and down, but I'm not trying to target them as an offense I want to start a defense against. It worked out. I mean, obviously the Bills worked out against Joe Flacco, but it wasn't like the Colts weren't in that game. It was still back and forth to the end. And fantasy-wise, the Colts did put up a decent amount of numbers, so that's why I'm just going through the other bad teams, because Chuba Hubbard put up great numbers. Maybe no, not even that. Yeah, I would say if I'm finding a team if I'm finding a defense to if you're trying to just stream one, I would target the Raiders. Yeah, whoever's playing the Raiders.
I like that. So jumping back to Russell Wilson, kind of talking about their offense a little bit. As far as, also defenses to target. So they got the Ravens coming up next week, then the Browns, then the Bengals, then the Browns again, then the Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, and Bengals. So they play Browns twice, Bengals twice, and the Ravens twice. So finishing out their entire division schedule here at the end of it. Seems kind of odd. At the same time, it seems pretty exciting because if you look at the defenses,
yeah.
Look, we talk about the Ravens were the worst. You know who's not too far behind them?
Bengals.
Is the Bengals for yardage, and in the touchdown column is the Browns as well. So not the best defenses other than the Steelers. Steelers actually been really good this year. But yeah. So that's not a bad division to target defensively. So I know for me, I've been looking at tight ends of which groups to really try to target, because looking at making a little bit of a move. We still have a couple more weeks for trades.
Yep.
I am middling as far as schedule because injuries really hit me hard. and it's the kind of players that they're only going to be out a few weeks. They're not going to be on IR. I've had a couple of IR that I was happy to drop so I could pick up to other people, but yeah. So that's where it's like I'm really looking at, okay, next 2 to 3 weeks, who can I trade for that is really going to help me get into the playoffs and really help me while we're in the playoffs as well. And so I like that. So you're targeting the Raiders offense. So that's your defensive stream is forever whoever is on that one. But looking at the offenses, as far as or defense, as far as who you're going to target, starting with running backs, right? Because that seems to be a little bit of the shallower end of the pool. Running backs. I mean, who are you really looking at as far as who to target for trade opportunities, but then also defense-wise, possibly who you're going to be targeting on that?
Well, I know he's fouling in the top 5 and what we expect him to be, but Bijan's going to be great for the rest of the season because of the division that he's in. And I don't know what the rest of his schedule is, but when you go against his division, now granted, the Bucs are a really good run defense, and so a lot of times when they play the Bucs, and I think they've already played twice. I don't know the rest of the Falcons' schedule, but
the Falcons,
yeah, the Falcons' schedule there.
Yeah, they've already played quite a bit of divisional games.
Yeah, I think they already have.
And their division is playing the AFC West. So they already play the Chiefs. They're probably going to have to play, I think, Raiders or Broncos.
They're the NFC South.
I know, but they're playing the AFC West in their non-conference.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So each year, of course, you got to play your own division,
right.
But then there's a certain group on the opposing conference that you're going to be playing.
Yeah. Bijan's got the Broncos next, which they're like they're good, but they're not like great, and I don't know. But then he has
Broncos, Chargers, Vikings, then Raiders. Yeah.
Yeah. So those next 3 games, it could be. I don't think he's going to be putting up 30 points against the Saints. I mean, this is a great matchup for him. I mean, from this other league, like Bijan since week 6 has been the Bijan Robinson we were expecting. Like that is consistent stuff. But it was Panthers, Seahawks, Bucks, Cowboys, Saints. Not murderer's row when it comes to defenses. Whereas Broncos, they're not nothing to mess with, except when they play the Ravens. But they were literally ranked number 1 until they played the Ravens as far as overall defense. And then they went against the Chiefs, which the Chiefs I still look at an outlier just because they always play to their competition and they just figure out a way to win. Chargers, again, they're really good. And the Vikings are really good too. Now after that, you have the Raiders, Giants, Commanders, Panthers. So you're ready for that. At least if you've made it at least to week 14, after week 14, that 15 and 16 and 17 matchup, you're good for Bijan. But I think Bijan's good enough. He's going to get his numbers.
Yeah. Because I mean, there's the floor and the ceiling. It definitely looks like Bijan's floor is raising, even though he's had some bust weeks. But you at least with how he is, you've got to expect some kind of production.
Right.
They tried Tyler Algiers 3 times in the red zone to try to get a touchdown within like the 5-yard line, and then and he fails. Someone fourth, they're like, "Hey, Bijan," he's like, "Yeah, I got you."
Yeah.
He's in. Yeah. I mean, the kid is just that much of a beast.
Hey, Good's here. But yes, we did not gloss over the Chargers. You just came in late because I did actually give a big, huge. We actually did give like nice little 3.
We've been talking about for like a half hour. You just
missed it. Although we did spend some time about how Harbaugh might be on the spectrum. But hey, he's just really good. Like I said, he wins. And we were saying how Justin Herbert is like, he's really freaking good. He looked good.
Yeah, not bad, man. You're not bad. You guys are doing the thing. Except, beating the Steelers. But that's another thing. Sorry, because I'm looking at Steelers' schedule. Because, because the Steelers' defense for me is It may not be streamable because whoever has them, it's probably locked in, right?
I mean, it's with me and the Chiefs. If I have the Chiefs defense, I'm not moving.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was able to get the Vikings off of waivers a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I'm just going to ride or die with them. And so far it has been pretty good for me. But anyways, so jumping back, so we're talking about the top 10. We just hit the overall, and then we also hit the quarterbacks. But we're also talking about the running backs, right? Because we're talking about defenses maybe to target. But this is why. Is because Bijan Robinson coming in at number 1, 29 points. Chuba Hubbard, 25. Chase Brown. I've heard that name too many times, more than I really want to, because I knew to pick him up, and I just didn't.
Yep.
And it's just biting my ass. But one person I did, luckily, is James Conner. Going with 22 points. You also got Rachaad White with 19. Like a rare spike for him, even though 19 isn't the highest output as far as fantasy. But not everybody can do 55 like Jamar Chase. But Austin 55! Eckler. Yeah, 55! Austin Eckler, though, coming in 18. Bucky Irving with the Tampa Bay greats coming in at 18. Joe Mixon back in the fold, getting 17. Kareem Hunt 17, and then Christian McCaffrey on his return, getting 17 points. For those running backs, I mean, who's kind of standing out to you? Again, we're talking about trade deadline, so who you may you be trying to trade for? If that's not completely going to be locked up. Right?
James Conner, because he's going to win the award for the best boring running back on the year.
Yep.
James Conner, if you look at his numbers, has been pretty consistent. Like, there's not a big boom and there's not a big bust. Like, there was a couple. I think there was 1 week he was like he wasn't very good, but most of the time he is a top 10 receiver. I mean, it's a running back. Sorry, but but you don't know about it because he doesn't have those like big boom games. Like Chuba Hubbard, he's had like 2 or 3 boom games. Rachaad White, Bucky Irvin, people have been talking about him. Austin Eckler, you could trade for him. Guess what? Brian Robson's going to come back. And then Austin Eckler's production is going to take a dip. Obviously, if you can get Kareem Hunt, I would. But didn't you say Isaiah Pacheco is going to come back here pretty soon? So
yeah, I'm going to follow up on that one. I think it's a few more weeks. But yeah.
Okay. Hey, try and trade for Christian McCaffrey. That's who you should trade for. Everyone's going to give him up.
Exactly right.
If someone has held on to Christian McCaffrey this long without trading him, they're going to keep holding on to him because they finally get to use him. With that, but yeah, James Conner is definitely the one that I would target in that top 10 because obviously the owner's probably going to pay attention to him, but he's one there I'm pretty sure people are willing to let go. That I would definitely pick up if you're lacking that number 2 running back and have a decent enough. Good. I don't know how you lost the Steelers. That's between you and Harbaugh. For that, but that's what I would do. Yeah, Chase Brown you could probably move, but he's the number 1 guy now. Like that, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Zach Moss is an afterthought. It's Chase Brown's team as far as the running back position, and that's why so many people draft him during the season or didn't because you're in a 10-team league. You just stared at him the whole time, and you didn't know when he was finally going to get the percentage of carry/targets that he's getting now. Because Chase Brown. Yeah, the Chase Brown for the past 3 weeks has been very, very good.
Yeah. So a quick update for the Pacheco situation. They still haven't given a date, but Coach Andy Reid said very close. So 2 weeks, right?
Yeah,
maybe. At most, or at best 2 weeks, maybe at most 4. I really think he's going to be there for your playoff run in your league, and even though he does have quite a bit of a quarterbacks committee there, I mean, honestly, I would probably venture to say maybe one of the best.
Yeah,
I mean, you got Kareem Hunt, you got Samaje P. Ryan, then you got the rookie. I mean, even though he's still kind of going through some growing pains, then you add Pacheco into that mix,
like his pet gator.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Carson Steele, that's what he's known for, is being an alligator owner. But yeah, I mean that's one that maybe people forgot about. That's on the waiver wire, possibly.
Yeah.
In your league. So, definitely maybe look at trying to cash in on that one here soon before it's too late because just like with Chase Brown, I mean, name had been mentioned since week 1 that this is going to be the guy. He's going to be the guy. He's going to be the guy. And then he's the guy.
Yep.
And he looks very good being that guy there for them. And a red hot, Bengals team really right now. So
it's hot as far as offensive production, not wins.
Yeah, not wins, right? I mean, that's as tough a one as you can have as far as the loss. But I mean, they're definitely getting hot. And then you look at their schedule. I mean, it's gonna be the same thing with the other ones. I mean, they're playing in the division now, so you got to think at least with the Browns, they can probably get some there. Steelers are going to be a little bit tough, just because how good they're looking. But just another tale of really just another story of a snake eating its own tail.
Yeah,
and that is exactly what this AFC North team looks like. As far as division, because who would have thought? Who would have thought?
I mean, I'm sitting there trying to rack my brain here good about that,
Dude.
But they're 7-3 on the year, 7-2 on the year. They're leading the division. But this coming week's going to figure out who's going to take the division. Both of them are going to make the playoffs at this point, unless something crazy happens. But what Steelers are doing, because they always have a good defense and their offense has always been inept. And then Justin Fields was good enough to keep them afloat. And then when Russ took over, it's the second coming, or it is the second coming because he was terrible with the Broncos. But he's got he's got the receivers, and Arthur Smith is scheming it up correctly, which is crazy. It's like, oh, we got George Pickens. No, I'm going to throw to Mike Williams, even though George Pickens has been eating.
Yeah.
Since.
I mean, he's also not the head coach anymore. So he just could be maybe one of those coaches that, hey, you're just not a good head coach, but you're a phenomenal coordinator. And he's also under the guise of Mike Tomlin, who is as steady and dependent as the next coach.
The standard is the standard. One of the greatest quotes I've ever heard, and it comes from Mike Tomlin. The standard is the standard. Dude,
you guys so fucking awesome. But they are 7-2. They're on a 4-game winning streak. And so, yes, they have the same wins as the Ravens, being 7. But they have had their bye week. The Ravens have not, and the Ravens lost 1 game. So they're 7-3. That is why the Ravens are not top in that division. For anybody that's kind of new to football and kind of wondering what is going on there. But then, Bengals 4-6 and Browns 2-7. Other 2-7 teams, you're looking at the Raiders, right? In the AFC. The Titans, Jaguars are 2-8. You got 2-8 Giants. You have Panthers are 3-7. So we can't even say they're 2-loss or 2-win team now. But say that because this is the midpoint, just a little bit past it. So that's where you're looking at these teams, and they know if they're in playoff contention or not. Which means now there's going to be business decisions to be made. The trade deadline is already passed for the NFL, but for those teams, that's what they're looking at. And I believe it was the Panthers that beat the Giants, and they're saying Tracy unknowingly actually saved their season and saved their number 1 draft pick.
The fact that Tracy has been playing all season makes no sense to me, because that is their offense at this point. Because Malik Neighbors, as soon as he got more than concussed or something. Like, I think he maybe had what is this? The 4th week or 3rd week he's out? He wasn't out. He hasn't been Malik Neighbors since he went out.
Okay. So he was just out that 1 weekend after the concussion.
He was out a couple weeks with a concussion, and ever since he came back, he has been not good.
No.
Like, he was going.
But neither have the Giants. They're 2-8. It's just one of those things where we're talking about fantasy football. You're talking about your players and their production, but you've really got to look at some of the gamesmanship and the scheming. That's why a lot of people don't have their championships or shouldn't have their championships in week 18. That is now. Because with that, a lot of people are sitting their players because they're getting ready for the playoffs. They already have the bye week, or they know exactly where they're going to be sitting as far as the playoffs, whether they win or lose, and they'll put in their backups, get them a little bit of reps before the playoffs, try to warm them up, give their starters a break so they can kind of heal a little bit. So that's why you don't want to have your championship then. But be looking at those teams. I mean, if they're giving up the ghost and they're possibly going for that number 1 draft pick, that might be an easy one to pick from. It's an easy one to see as far as the picks for the wins, and you can pick apart maybe some of the defense or offense, but also offensive production, though, because garbage time is a real thing, right, Josh?
The garbage man can, yes.
Garbage
it is.
man can, yeah.
Because especially if you get behind, there's a reason. Like the Bengals are always going to be playing for about they're under 500, but Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow are one of the best. Jamar Chase has run away with the best receiver in the league.
Dude. Yeah,
he is.
Yeah, over his pal Justin.
Yeah, and Justin Jefferson kind of had a little bit down week for him. But yeah, Joe Burrow threw to both of those guys in college, and yet I don't know how he was so good. But then he ends up going to the NFL. He's still good. But yeah,
because he still has one of them.
Yep.
I want to see Joe Burrow alternate universe with none of them.
He'd still be pretty freaking good.
Yeah, he's to be all right.
Yeah, he's to be all right.
He's Josh Allen level, right?
Well, he's not at the like as Josh Allen. But he's Joe Shiesty, man. I can't. I wish I could talk shit about Joe Burrow, but I can't. But as far as where we're getting at, what's the next thing? My brain stopped like midway through the sentence, and I didn't know how to transition.
Did it stop or just start too fast? Excuse me. No, just talking about garbage time in general.
Yeah. So that's why you see some of these players. That's why you just keep with what you're starting, because once you get into garbage time, like Chuba Hubbard, he might get game scripted out of it, but he's still probably gonna be okay. These teams that are getting blown out. I mean, Dallas. I don't know what to tell you about Dallas. Like, I don't want to talk about them. I mean, this. If you're a CeeDee Lamb owner, I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is the biggest thing ever. Like, he's literally getting. You know what the number 1 defensive player is against the Cowboys is the sun, apparently, because they can't see the freaking football.
Dude, that stadium fucking sucks.
So anyway,
Jerry, you should tear it all down. You should. Because whoever designed it's a fucking moron, dude.
I didn't design it. It does look pretty cool, actually, but for a player,
it looks cool, but like the function of it is so retarded, man.
Yeah.
The very first season that it came out, it was just like, why did they do this? Why did they have it facing this direction and have like an actual like walkway that's so exposed that light just pierces through at the angle to blind people? And it's like, all right, if you're using a strategy, great, but it's strategizing against their own team. Yeah. So come on, man. Just put some money, man. Screen it off.
Right, and also for garbage time wise, I mean that's where Calvin Ridley could be okay because they're going to have a lot of garbage time. That's where Josh Downs is going to be good as long as because Michael Pittman's been out for a couple weeks, so that's why you saw Josh Downs' production become a little bit more consistent. But also, I think Baltimore. I think Indianapolis. Yeah, formerly the Baltimore Colts, now the Indianapolis Colts. I know people are pissed off at the Colts at this point, but Josh Downs is going to be playing hard. Joe Flacco is going to be playing hard. So Flacco. Shout out to Stabby. But and all that I don't know the deco, I think that's what it's called, the accent or whatever. Anyway, getting off on a tangent there. But yeah, those are the garbage time teams that I would look at. So if I'm a Josh Downs owner, and as long as Flacco is playing, I'm okay with it. Although they might say, F it, put back Anthony Richardson, and then your Josh Downs production is going to go to the tank. Even though when he was last time, or 2 weeks, his first week back or second week back or whatever, Josh Downs did end having a touchdown, had a really good week, but then Anthony Richardson came back down to earth and they benched him.
So real quick, talking about Josh Downs. I love this statistic, right? So looking up NFL teams and their fourth quarter production. Guess who's number one with 9.8 points in the fourth quarter on average?
Is it Josh
Indianapolis
Downs?
Colts.
The Indianapolis Colts. Okay.
Yeah, the team.
Yeah.
Right? And that team is not a winning team.
Nope.
So maybe that means that they were in highly contested affairs and they're really just pushing hard because right behind is Tampa Bay at number 2, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, and Baltimore, right? 3 of those are going to be in the playoffs. The other 2 won't. As much as I would love to see Tampa Bay in there.
You didn't say – I'm surprised. I thought you were going to say Kansas City.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, yeah, they're not going to make it, guys. They're going to lose
they're not gonna make
every
it.
game for the rest of the season and then still not make the playoffs.
That'd be the weirdest freaking thing ever if that happened.
9-8. Yeah. I don't like that I said it out loud.
I think you'll be all right, man.
Yeah, but you're talking about fourth quarter production.
Yeah.
I mean, the Colts are one of the top ones already. So what does that look like going forward? Are they going to keep that tenacity? Are they going to keep kind of doing that? Or have they just been accustomed to garbage time period? So
that team, every team is always –
selection. Yeah.
Yes, and thank you for that. And I didn't even know that statistic. They were that good in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because I know ball. But yeah, got to throw that in there when I can, just for the fact that I threw out the Indianapolis Colts from way more than I talked about any other team when it comes to garbage time. And I was right because that is the garbage time, guys. It's the fourth quarter. So if I'm a Jonathan Taylor owner, I still will be a little, I don't know, because he's been banged up. And if they're out of playoff contention, they might sit him. It just depends on that. I doubt they will. But if I'm Michael Pittman, he's going to be playing. If I'm Alec Pierce, I'm going to be playing. If I'm Josh Downs, I'm going to be playing. If I'm Joe Flacco, I'm going to be playing. And those guys, the reason I'm saying all those guys is maybe not Michael Pittman, but the other ones are playing for a contract. They're playing to make sure they keep going. Now, I think Josh Downs is good, like as far as like his getting another contract. That's what I mean by that. Not just being like he's a good player, but he's good to get his other contract. But if he can keep going and showing how good he is, then he can get even better and get a better payday. So that's what I'm saying is Jonathan Taylor and maybe Michael Pittman. I think Michael Pittman's still going to be playing for that prestigious contract, and it's just bad luck because he's been injury prone. He was pretty decent last year, but he wasn't what we were thinking he was going to be. So he hasn't really made that next step, and then he got injured and banged up this year. So again, I'm expecting Michael Pittman to still be fine. And the receiving core, except for Jonathan Taylor's, who I might be like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and you talk about receivers. We didn't really get to them as far as the top 10, so let's jump through that real quick. Obviously, Jamar Chase getting that insane 55 burger.
May whoever win against Jamar Chase, bless you, child.
Oh, my God, right? I believe in one of our leagues, the person who had Jamar Chase
200 points.
Scored 200-plus points. Yeah, good luck. Good luck on that one. But
it's whoever his team was is the Simpson meme of stop it. He's already dead.
Yeah, and we thought he was dead, but MVS was not. He showed up 26 points. Calvin Ridley getting a late resurgence in the season, getting 25 points. Pickens and the Steelers showing back up and showing a lot, some life for the season, getting 21. Then Wallace out of Baltimore getting 21, right? Not Bateman, not Johnson, nobody else that they traded for, but Wallace. And then Cortland Sutton getting 19 points there in that heartbreaking loss to the Chiefs. Mechie there with Houston.
Wow, you said heartbreaking and laughed at the same time.
Oh, man. Oh, it is so good. Oh, my God.
Just tell us how you really feel.
I got drunk on those tears, man. But Mechie with the injury-riddled Houston Texans coming in getting 18 points against and that losing affair to Detroit. Then you got Pierce there at Indiana talking about garbage time getting 18. Then Amon-Ra St. Brown getting 18 and Drake London getting 18. Yeah, man. So that's kind of this week's top 10 wide receivers. Who is sticking around? Who are you rushing to the waiver wire to pick up? Because there's probably 2 or 3 of these names that are on the waiver wire.
Alec Pierce, at least.
Mm-hmm.
If you might have a Michael Pittman and your other receivers suck, or you might have a Michael Pittman and you have 2 jet receivers, then you might want to go to the waiver wire and pick him up. I'm not talking about anybody in particular, but I sound like him. And then Michi, I think Nico Collins is coming back. And then so you have Michi, Collins, and Tank Dell.
Yep. And
Dalton Schultz or whoever their tight end might be, with them being giving the ball to Joe Mixon a decent amount, even in the passing game. That's why I'm not like rushing to do that. Wallace, congratulations, Wallace. You are the receiver that caught the longest passing touchdown in Lamar Jackson's history.
Yeah.
That's about the only accolade I'm taking from that.
That's all you're going to give him? That's it?
I mean, he's amazing. He makes more money than I could ever think of.
Yeah.
But he's not going to be somebody I'm rushing to the waiver wire to get.
But, I mean, he's had such an incredible season. Week 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 5. Week 5, he got 5. That's good. And then 6, 0, 0, 0, 0, then 20.5. Yeah. Apparently
he's the David Tyree of fantasy players, and if he had him this week, he did great. Other than that,
yeah. If you had him any other week, what the fuck are you doing with your life?
If you know what David,
and if you're in a dynasty, stop it. Just quit the league.
And if you don't understand who David Tyree is, you should look it up. You'll understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, and then for Mechie, kind of the same thing. I mean, didn't play the first 3 weeks, probably injury or maybe just on practice field. I don't know. Week 4 though, got 12% of the snaps and 1.7 points, and then after that 0, 0, 0, 5.9, 0, and then 18.4. But next week is going to be Dallas, right? And there's still going to be Nico possibly was going to come in this week. Didn't happen. But even then, I mean, when Nico comes in, he may still have a little bit of a line share as far as snap percentages and maybe even some targets. Because just whenever you look at their team, I mean, it's Tank Dell, Robert Woods, and Javier Hutchinson that are the 1, 2, and 3 before John Mechie. So,
okay, now I will, and I thought I was right. Now, while you were going through that, I had to look it up just to double check. So, Mechie was out of Alabama, and he was highly regarded as an amazing player. He was selected 44th overall to the Texans. Literally, like right after he got selected, he was noticing some things he just didn't feel right. Dude has leukemia.
Currently?
I mean, he's on remission, but he's got a
but still though.
Yeah.
Dang, dude.
Yeah. So, because I knew he had some form of cancer, but I didn't want to say it. But yeah, it was. Yeah. He was diagnosed in 2022 with a acute promyelectic. I can't pronounce that. A leukemia. So I don't know if he's like fully. But as far as I know, he's in remission. Obviously, since he's back. Because I don't think you can like get cured for leukemia. You can just be. You can just serve. I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Waves of it.
Yeah. I don't know what it's called, but I mean, I know obviously Chuck Logano went through it, but yeah, Michi has a acute form of leukemia.
Lymphoblastic leukemia.
Yeah, sure. It starts with a P. Whatever it is.
It starts with
no.
Okay,
no. It starts with a P. It's Chuck. There's different forms of leukemia, but Chuck Logano had it, and that's why pretty much he came back for like one, but it was with acute promyelectic, which we have all we have is our lawyer. He doesn't have a medical degree. So
well, he should.
In the chat. I know. Help us out here. But yeah, Michi, that's the thing is like, because Michi was drafted. Yeah. So I don't want to talk. That's why
that's a good one. Promyelocytic.
Yeah.
So it's locytic, but promyelocytic or promyelocytic? That's the question.
But yeah,
And that may be completely wrong. But yeah,
I was getting ready to say, like, when Michi was in, I was like, dude, like James Conner, he beat cancer as well. But Luke,
and then oh my God, Chiefs, Eric Berry.
Eric Berry.
That was a big one. Remember he came back, and that was leukemia as well.
Yeah,
I'm not sure on the particular, type.
one of the greatest safeties I've ever seen play the game.
Dude, so good, man. But yeah, so APL is a type of blood cancer that occurs when immature white blood cells called promyelocytes build up in the bone marrow and don't fully develop. So, yeah, okay.
You probably need a bone marrow
yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, if we're talking, with a lot of that, where
a lot of leukemia is you need a bone marrow transplant. In that regard. Thank you, Hey Good. What do you like?
Cousin's doctor. There we go.
Yeah, his cousin's a doctor.
All right, just part of the greatest family of Hey Goods that we know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so much. I mean, much love to you, man. Definitely cheering for you just in life. But as fantasy owners, we may not be as apt to cheer for you.
I didn't want to sit there and be like, don't get Mechie. He sucked. I loved him out of college. And then that happened, and because you can tell
it doesn't always transpose, and then also situations happen like that.
Yeah, and plus
just outside your control.
I mean, you remember Eric Berry? Like when he was amazing,
and
then he went through the battle, and then he came back. He was still great. Like the fact that you can still be that caliber.
He was still good, but
but he wasn't.
You could tell
he was a Hall of Famer. Like he was a first ballot Hall of Famer type of safety, and then he got leukemia.
Yeah. Sometimes life just throws you a little bit of a curveball. But it's how you respond to it, and I mean, he responded phenomenally. I believe he got the Walter Payton award at one of the years, and then pretty sure he got comeback player of the year whenever he
he got comeback player of the year
for
sure.
Yeah, but
unlike a guy who died on the field, he got beat out by Joe Flacco.
Dude, the guy got his love the year before when it all happened. Come on, y'all settle down with that.
Joe Flacco.
Yeah, well, he also had I think a turnover recovered from Flacco. So he won the game, okay? They won the game. That's what matters, not the hardware, personal accolades, because you're on a team sport, man. And wide receivers, they're on a team. And that's what we were talking about. So wide receivers finished the top 10, but looking at trades, right?
Okay.
Because as a trade special, trade deadlines, what are some wide receivers you're kind of targeting? I mean, are you going? Obviously, there's like the top 5 that are just locked in, and then but it's probably the next 10, maybe 15 that are middling that you're kind of, hey, they can give me 10, 15 on average, or maybe they have a high ceiling, and if you just strike lightning and select the right matchup, that's going to win you that game or possibly that playoff game in the future, right?
Yeah.
So
I'll give you 3 that I'm targeting.
Okay, what's your 3?
Number 3, Devontae Smith.
Ooh, right. Just coming back from injury, along with AJ Brown.
Just coming back from injury, and they're finding their footing, and the conference sucks. Other than the Commanders, but the Commanders' defense is better, but they're not. It's Devontae. When AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are on the field, I want Devontae Smith, and I think I can get Devontae Smith for cheap.
Yeah.
Then I would.
No, I like that. So talking about the Commanders' defense, they are number 4 in worst. As far as that's rushing yards. Sorry.
Their passing defense
receiving, because we're talking about wide receivers. They are. They're not the top 10, but still, yeah, they're not that great. I mean, we just talked about the rushing defense. There's holes in it, and then also when you talk about touchdowns, they are looks like number 8 So the 8th worst. They've allowed 17 passing touchdowns. So, yeah, pretty good probability there.
But he's a bigger name, so on a better team that people still think is a good team. So therefore, that's why I have him at number 3. Number 2, because I think you can try and get him, but I don't think you will get him, is Jaden Reed.
Right.
Because he's on a team that spreads the ball around. Jordan Love is a little dinged up right now, so he might even he'll probably play. But if he doesn't, Jaden Reed, they scheme him enough to where you can sell like, oh, if Jordan Love's out, blah blah blah, I can get Jaden Reed.
Yep.
But my number 1 probably trade that you can get, and I hope you live under a rock, and I can't believe I'm saying this, is George Pickens.
Yep.
He's the best middle of the ground receiver who is gaining, and I mean by gaining care in playing football, number 1, because if you notice George Pickens sometimes doesn't give a crap, but also 2, him and Russ, every game, every rep, they get that more cohesion going. And that's why I say, because you don't have to give up the farm. That's what we're saying. Oh, I would want you to go out and, trade for Tyreek Hill. You're still going to give up the farm because it's a name. Those 3 that I gave you are not names. And you don't have to give up the farm, and you can do it.
Yep. I'd like that. Talking about George Pickens, looking at his last 3 weeks. Of course, the last week they had a bye, but this week got 20.5, right? So that's why he was in the top 10. That's why we're talking about him. But then also the week prior, or 2 weeks prior, when they played the Giants, he got 11.4. Then against the Jets, he got 22.1. But against the Raiders, 8.3. Dallas, 5.6. But again, I mean, you're talking about an offense that is firing on all cylinders right now, with a defense to match it and to be able to play complementary football. As far as in those games, but I like that.
It's the rest factor. So if you like, when Russ, I can tell you exactly what you told me. Or like, I know when Russ played, and that's what I'm saying is like when you're like, hey, should you pick up Russ? Yes, right. This week you should, and probably going forward because you're playing the Bengals as well. Like how that division.
I never asked
played.
you about Russ actually.
What?
Well, sorry. I think like in real life as me actually trying to acquire him.
Oh no! I'm talking about like
in the show.
Yeah, in the show. Yes, in the show.
It's like I never asked you about picking him.
No. You were talking about would you pick up Russ? I was like, yeah. But I'm very, very in favor of trade for Pickens if you can, because I'm pretty sure you're not giving up a whole lot to get him, and I love him going forward.
Yeah, I like that. Another one I like is actually someone that Russell Wilson knows very well. It's Courtland Sutton.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, you got to kind of wear some steel underpants, so to say. But the last 3 weeks, they haven't had their bye week yet, so that's where that kind of hinders a little bit. They're taking their bye in week 14. But the last this week got 19 points. Last week 23.28, and the week before that 17.12. Before that he's had a goose egg, but he also didn't play because he didn't get any targets on that one. Week before that against the Chargers 15.3, and then before that against the Raiders 5.2. But again, we're also talking about almost identical trajectory as far as an offense.
Yeah.
Where they just the first 4 or 5 weeks they didn't really do a whole lot, and then for the Broncos, it's a rookie quarterback trying to figure it out. Maybe there's a little bit of line change, or maybe they got somebody back as far as on the line, but it was just week 5, 6 they just started to really look good, and also same with the Steelers. I mean, the Steelers have been winning, because that's just what Mike Tomlin knows how to do. But then when you throw in Russell Wilson, and I mean everybody's production goes up. Maybe not Freiermuth, maybe not to the extent that everybody would like to see, because fucking A, we need some tight ends that can actually produce something, which would be great. But yeah, for wide receivers though, that would be my addition to your 3. I love your 3 on that one as well. But yeah, man. I mean, where do you want to go to next? Do we want to touch anything else on top 10?
No, before we move on, let's answer all in one show down there. Thank you for joining us. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, he says currently 6-4 off a 6-game winning streak. Dude, that is what's up, man. Talk about rising from the ashes. Can you rate my lineup and see what moves I can make to push for the playoffs? All right, here we go. Burrow, Gibbs, Connor, Flowers, London, Kelsey, Puka, benches Higgins, Jacobs, Johnston, Pollard, Ridley, Waddle, and Pacheco on IR. Ridley should not be on your bench for one right now. But
what I mean, Puka's still pretty decent tonight.
But Zay Flowers, I'm not.
No, with Flowers, yes. Ridley probably with the garbage time. If Higgins comes back, then yes, I would put Higgins over Flowers. Because Flowers is so up and down. Like, I mean, Lamar spreads the ball around. I mean, hell, Bateman sometimes puts up as much. Flowers 2 weeks ago, that was all Flowers. That's the reason, because Flowers has that home run aspect, like he just does. Like they literally, but it literally takes Flowers would get his, and Flowers he had 32 yards. I think he had 5 receptions for 35 yards. But it was boom, boom, he was memorable. But against the Broncos, he was elite because he broke off. He juked 4 defenders, and Bateman gave him a good block to get that 60-yard or whatever it was right before halftime. So yeah, I probably look at starting Ridley over Flowers, which hurts me to say. Moves you can
Flowers
make.
Incredible talent.
Yeah, moves you can make.
You nailed it on the head.
What?
Oh, well, you nailed it on the head as far as the offense. It's so spread out. I mean, I mean, just because I'm a fan of them and I watch them all the time. The Chiefs, same thing. There's just so many targets, and Mahomes is going to utilize all of them. So just like for the Ravens, I mean, that's what Lamar is going to do. I mean, that's why you got the random one of the fourth wide receiver getting in the top 10.
Wallace.
But for Zay Flowers, though, he got 6 targets, which isn't bad in this week's affair. But off that 6 targets, he caught 4 of them and got 34 yards. Whereas Ripley had got, Ripley, believe it or not, because it's Ridley, he got 9 targets.
Yeah.
But definitely far more production off of those 9s because he got 84 yards and 2 touchdowns. So touchdowns really kind of saved him on that one, but still, yeah. I mean, he's kind of got a little bit of the hot hand right now.
I mean, if anything, I can tell you're a little bit lower on your receivers. So I don't really know if you can move Pollard to get a better receiver. That's something I would flirt with.
Yeah, probably coming back from injury, right?
Yeah, I would because you have Ridley and Pollard, and I don't like that. I don't like you have 2 Titans and the team hardly does anything. And most of the time, they're probably going to be behind, so Ridley's going to be the one that's going to get most of the targets. And
how did Waddle do tonight?
Waddle he started off with a 40-yard catch, but then I think that was it.
Yeah. I mean, 6 targets, caught 3 of them for 57 yards.
Yeah. Well, Waddle, honestly, there's no value in that. That's why I was saying Pollard for another receiver because I really don't like Waddle going forward.
Yeah, but you can also go off of recency bias. I mean, if you had a good game and got 15, hey, look, there's a little bit of an uptick. Hey, you should really go with this. We're back. They're in full form.
Right.
Yeah.
We're in a league that has a lot of players, and as soon as someone catches a touchdown, they put them on the block just to try and get value of them. I wish I was joking. That's literally how it happens, and no one bites on it because they just look at it as just a funny thing, I guess. But Pollard I guess I would move him just because, like I said, Waddle, and Zay isn't such an up and down number 1. Puka's fine. Don't mess up with Higgins. I mean, I don't know how it's structured, but I'm pretty sure Kelsey's your only tight end you have, and this is kind of how the season I was expecting from Kelsey, or we kind of expecting from Kelsey. Now, if they low manage him like we were thinking they're going to do, he might be off in a sense. He'll be on the field, but he might be off for like the next couple weeks. But Kelsey has shown up the past 3 weeks.
Yeah, for sure the last two. Got touching on the last two. Jumping back to Pollard, some key information is that the coaching said that they actually desired to decrease the workload of Pollard, and so you can actually see that. 4 weeks ago, he had 89%, then 82%, 86%, and this is talking about snap share. So he was in the 80s. This last week, he was in 54%.
Okay, good nugget there.
Yeah, so it affects the targets because, or sorry, not targets, but for rushing his attempts, because he went from 20, 28 down to 9. 9 attempts. He still got 44 yards on it. And then also got some, a little more passing in there for 4 targets for 19 yards. But, 10 points isn't nothing to, shy away from.
No.
Especially this year. Good God, there's a lot of players I wish they would just at least score 8. But they couldn't do that. And my kickers outscored them. My defenses outscored them.
Brees Hall. We're talking Brees Hall.
Bro. Yeah, we're talking Brees. We're talking about a lot of other motherfuckers too. But yeah, so Pollard has value, but that could be kind of diminishing. But hey, shoot your shots. When it comes to trade, shoot your shots. And also, if you can communicate with them and kind of build a little bit to it, do that as well.
Yep.
Because if they're just going off of what they think they know about that player, it may not happen. But if you let them know, hey, this person, they just went for 15, 20, they had 10 this week. It's a bad week. Everybody's got bad weeks, but he's on a team that they're gonna get a lot of garbage time. Right? I mean, there's things that you can do to kind of try and sell it or try to milk it a little bit, and instead of it being a cold call or a cold sell, warm him up a little bit, and so that'll definitely help you out in that. I like that. I also.
My take on Pollard was great until you put facts and logic into it.
Oh, sorry. No. I'm with you, though. I'm still with you on Pollard. Pacheco is the one, because if you've got a Chiefs fan or if you have somebody that goes off of, they're coming back from injury, they're going to be exactly who they were.
Yeah.
If you know that kind of person, I would target them with Pacheco. Don't get me wrong. I would love to have Pacheco.
Yeah.
Because I think he'll at least do something, but we're talking about a 9-0 team. We're not talking about a 4-5 or 5-4,
like they're doing with Pollard.
Yeah, like Pollard is. So it's like they're not gonna have to try as hard to win because they're not desperate. There's definitely probably something that they want to win no matter what, because they would love to, have this be one of the greatest NFL seasons of all time, which I think it may shape up to be. But also in that Kareem Hunt is doing well, even though he's a little bit older. I know Andy Reid jokes about him having to go and, sit in the, in the cold tub and, he's got to rest up because he's going to be real sore. But there's still a lot of tools and weapons they haven't utilized. And for Pacheco to come in, they're not going to have to put the workload on him because they know they're going to get to the playoffs. They're going to try and get him ready for the playoffs and not necessarily the regular season. But say that if somebody else really loves Pacheco and wants to bite on it, let him bite on it.
Yeah. If you have a Chiefs fan in your league, they will bite so hard on that.
Yeah, they will. They really will.
Trust me, we saw Ayuk for George Kittle, and at first we were like, "Why is he trading Ayuk?" And then we realized, that might have been a good trade.
Oh no, that one was a good trade, and I was mad at the person who traded away Kittle.
I know.
I'd say that was bullshit, dude. That was.
Yeah.
That was not a good trade. Well, yeah, and then we talked about it. Maybe if someone accepts the trade, that's on them.
Yeah.
If they're gonna be, gonna do that, but no, it definitely worked out for.
But thanks for your
person that
question.
Received it knowingly though. Yeah, man. Yeah, on the show. Yeah, definitely let us know. Like and subscribe. Follow us on the next videos and such. But yeah, let us know what you ended up going with. If there's any other ideas that you kind of have as far as your trades. If you're in a dynasty, definitely look at leveraging picks. If you are in a fab league, definitely look at leveraging some of that fab. So maybe you got lucky and didn't get hit with the injury bug and you got quite a bit of your fab. Or if it was like us, you tried to spend it, it just didn't work out.
No.
Everybody else was going overboard and getting that one player that you were wanting. So you still got quite a bit of fab. So if you're not going to use it, then lose it. Right. And why not lose it for the right reason? And kind of bumping up a little bit of a trade for you to get that player that you really think is going to solidify your entry into the playoffs and also your wins. So,
yep. Well said.
Yep.
All right, let's do some injuries.
Let's do it.
Week here.
Let's get it hurt.
Then we will wrap it up for the night. Unless you all have any other questions, please let us know. All right, so in the injuries, the Dallas Cowboys, they are on the IR for the rest of my life.
The entire team in the franchise.
Anyway, I guess we'll start with Drake London.
Mm-hmm.
He did it. He was Galarraga, I think, was the guy who tore his ACL when he celebrated kicking a field goal. That's kind of what Drake London did. Yeah. But yes, his hip is considered day to day. Keon Coleman might have been wrong about you, but I'm still right about you. I'm still going to hold on faith on that.
But you're right about him being an incredible talent, but just wrong that he was going to show it this year.
Right. Yeah, he's an incredible talent. Yeah. But is scheduled to undergo an MRI on Monday after he injured his right wrist in the Sundays. 30-27 win over the Dolphins. Again, last week. And then Caleb Williams, he's injured because he's on the Bears and he's not very good. Eric All Jr. And then we had Dak Prescott. He underwent season-ending surgery there on his hamstring, which people are like, "Oh, he got a hamstring strain." I'm like, "No, he didn't. You don't get carted off if it's a hamstring, or it's just that bad." CeeDee Lamb, he gets blinded by the light, so that's why he's on the injury list. Chris Olave, they did say that he is still going to return this year, and I'm like, why? Why would you do that? Then Christian McCaffrey, he did return, and then Debo, but he punched his team in the face, which was weird. But yeah, no, Chris Olave's thing was just terrible, and the fact that they are still wanting to have him come back this year makes no sense when you have no playoff hope. Nothing else really big injury to big player, unless I'm missing one.
Not that I really kind of saw. Really at this point, it's a lot of people coming back. So Christian McCaffrey coming back. We're talking about Isaiah Pacheco soon-ish. So, probably like 2 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. But nothing else that I really kind of heard of, other than I think the Broncos linemen on the special teams.
Okay.
Absolutely got decimated.
Oh yeah, yes. Yeah, we're not going to say that to his face.
So good. He's probably watching right now. But hey, sorry, man. I know they tell you to get your eyes to 2:00 and be able to work that line. But yeah, you had two people coming at you, man. There's nothing you could do. It's the Chiefs. No. It's inevitable. Like, we are literally Thanos this year. Like, you can try and stop us from getting all the rings, and we're still gonna it's just gonna happen, man. It's just gonna happen.
I'd be mad at you, but this is what it felt like when I was around in 1992
Dude.
to like 97.
Yeah. I mean, whenever fate is just loving you as much as it is right now, it's like I was ready for the loss. I was ready for the loss. I was like, well, hey, they outplayed us. They did a great job. They're lining up, and it was just like something could still happen.
I felt it too when I was watching. I'm like,
yeah,
this is not. Nope. Everything just doesn't because I kept sitting there telling the Broncos like, you need to score a touchdown. You need to score a touchdown right now. If you don't score a touchdown, they're selling for a field goal, and it's not like a chip shot. It's like a 40-yarder or something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, mother trucker, here it comes.
Dude, it was so good. But hey, what's also good is getting messages from our fans. So J20. 3 and 7. I have Tyreek, AJ Brown, Brees, H-Han, Monty, BTJ. Who's BTJ? Brian Thomas Jr., right?
Yes.
Pitt, Stroud, 3 wide receiver, 2 running back, 1 flex, right? Do I trade Brees and Hill for Jaden Daniels and Mixon? I'm probably Mixon, yeah, because he corrects it later. My guys don't perform. Man,
I would.
It's yeah.
Is it a redraft league? Then yes, 1,000%.
That's my question. Is what is the league itself? Assuming it's a redraft, but yeah, with it being three wide receivers.
Now Tyreek did just get. That's what I'm saying. Like this is how you can sell it. Tyreek did just get back Tua. They did win tonight, so they're on a high. Now, it's a redraft league. Okay, so yeah, I'm with that. Now Tyreek is underperforming, and he's still tonight. What do you have tonight?
Like 15.
I don't know what the fantasy was.
He had a touchdown.
Crap. I don't even know who has Tyreek Hill anymore. Oh, I know who has Tyreek Hill. Where's Haygood's team?
No, you're good. He got 11.7.
Yeah.
So he got 3 receptions off of 4 targets for 16 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah. So
wow, really low production.
Yeah,
the touchdown saved him. But
yeah. You can sell it on the fact that you can definitely sell it. Here's how you sell it, unless it's just a cold boom. I'm going to do it because Brees is still a name, even though Aaron Rodgers is vulturing because he's Aaron Rodgers, and he just won't give the ball typically how you would do for Brees Hall. So you can sell that. Then you can sell the fact that, to trade those away. You don't want to sell that. For Jaden Daniels, you want to sell the fact that Jordan Love is shaky and he has other receivers to go to, so you don't want to do that. And then how you sell getting Mixon is Nico Collins is about to come back. And then, therefore, Tank Dell's going to be open. And the emergence of Michi, who just had a really great week. So why is Mixon going to be the premier back? And then you can sell Brees on that, hey, might as well just go ahead and give it to Brees because they want to make sure Aaron's going to be good to come back next year. And Tyreek Hill just got Tua back. They're going to be great. So that's how you can get those two.
Yeah. I mean, for Brees, 3 weeks ago, he came off a 221, 21.9, 26, 0.10 game. But 3 weeks ago, got 9.9, then 10.5, then 12.3. So there's that kind of that incline again as well. I mean, there's a big drop off from the big numbers, but he's still got 24, 20 plus games, 3 of them. And then for 15, he's got 5 of them. So yeah, that's just a hard sell.
Well, I just now realized I misread
anybody going off of Mixon.
I misread Jaden Daniels for Jaden Reed, so I went on a big diatribe. Well, like how much I like Jaden Reed. The reason you should sell him on the fact that Jaden Daniels is going down is because he just became a mediocre in a sense against the Steelers when he's not. So just be like, oh, the NFL has figured him out. That's the best way to sell it every day. So my apologies, but anyone that just listened to the diatribe about me misreading that he fact put Jaden Daniels, not Jaden Reed, that's how you can get Jaden Reed from your opponents. Is just sell
you
it.
said Jordan Love. I just thought you knew more information than I did on it.
Yeah, no. I just misread Jaden Daniels for Jaden Reed because we talked about Jaden Reed earlier.
Yeah, for Daniels, though, last 3 games have been trending down, 22, 19, and 8. So, yeah, that's definitely your selling point on that one.
And I say you should still do it.
Stuff just because he's so good. I mean, I've been trying to figure out trades for him, but kind of same thing. I mean, 23 points, 16, 17. So a little bit of a dip. So that is him coming off of that injury and such. But yeah, I mean, but so in cards there is a certain point, specifically poker, where you're playing the numbers. So you're playing the odds, you're playing the stats. But whenever it comes to trading, you're playing the person. So whenever it gets, for, like a card table, you start with 5 or 6 and you get down to just 1 people or, 2 people, one-on-one, head-to-head. That's whenever you're playing the person and not the cards. You leverage the cards, but you're playing the person themselves. So reading the body language, communicating with them, and really just trying to get any competitive advantage that you can kind of in that moment. So for that trade, it is looking at it and just talking shit on what they have and why you need it, or just knowing that person and what's going to work, right? And if you don't know the person, just try a bunch of shit. See what does work.
Yeah, throw shit against the wall at that point. Just whatever.
I mean, depending on when your trading deadline is. I mean, I know for our Dynasty League, it's done.
Done.
The game got over about 45 minutes ago. So, which by the way, congrats to all our Finn fans. Good win on there. Much needed win as well. But yeah, for the trade deadlines, I mean, just start throwing some Hail Marys. Maybe one of them will hit. It's one more than what you had before.
Yeah. But yeah, it definitely helps. That's a great tip, Tvshka. It definitely helps if you can actually physically talk to a person on the phone and coerce them into it. Because if they look at it, it's the same thing. You can misinterpret a text and they're not reading it correctly, depending on how you're trying to sell it. So if you can get them on the phone, sell it the way we just said.
I like it, man. And best of luck, Jay Hang 20, as well as All-In Show, Daniel Haygood, Chris Taylor, Just Like Fantasy, everybody else in the chats.
Almost had you. He literally beat me by 3 points.
Oh my God, for real?
No, he beat me by 4 points, some stuff. It was 134 to 138. But I did win in one of my other leagues. I did win by 0.5 points because of Puka Nakua. He did just enough in the garbage time that we talked about today. They got me there, but yeah. Crazy.
Oh, man, and you even had Hubbard getting you 24.
Mm-hmm.
As well as Bijan. But, man, if you just didn't have Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson on your team.
I am Puka Nakua cupped like I was last year.
Yeah, but they're shitting the proverbial.
Yes, they're shitting the bed. So, yeah, but that's how the fantasy.
I just don't trust the Jets.
I don't.
I mean, they can show flashes of greatness, but they just can't put it together consistently. And I am just not going to touch anybody on that team if I don't have to. Yeah. I'm gonna pretend like it's COVID. I'm just gonna give all the Jets players 6 feet back.
Good one. And I also want to preference by saying I did not trade for Devontae Adams once he went to the Jets. I drafted Garrett Wilson and Devontae, and obviously no one would ever. I didn't trade them away. I've been trying to shop them. I've been trying to shop Devontae Adams since the 3rd week. No one would bet. No one would bite. And now they're on the Jets. Nothing's gonna bite. So I'm stuck with them, basically, for the audience out there. But
you could just drop them. Please.
No. Good try though.
Yeah, I'll pick him up. I'll put him with my fifth string wide receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about this? I'll trade you a Waddle for Devontae Adams.
So anyway,
All right,
that was a
tell
great.
people what we got going on.
Where you can find us. Obviously, you can find us every Monday until the season wraps up. Here doing your fantasy F around, and we come here 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern, around those times. And we thank you all every day, every Monday that you'll hang out with us to go over all those things. On Tuesday, me and my buddies, we get together. We play video games. We bitch about shit, about like armor, and we're in our 30s. Come join us, and you can make fun of us because it's views. And on Wednesday, you see these two faces along with the lovely Soul to break down everything that is in the world of sports. So tune in Wednesday. You're going to see this guy be like, ha ha, still undefeated. In exactly that tone, exactly that interpretation.
Maybe we'll see.
Or he's going to come on like a little, just like
it's the Panthers.
Like a pretentious douchebag, be like, I mean, I'm used to it, guys, because we won the last 2 Super Bowls, so it's whatever. Yeah.
I mean, it is getting routine.
So tune in Wednesday to see which one of those reactions is going to be correct. Do a poll down below. And then on Thursday, me and my buddy Justin Toner break down everything that is, was, and will be in the world of wrestling. We just had the OG Bloodline reunite. Last SmackDown, we had Raw just happened tonight, so we will review that for you as well. And everything else that happened, even in AEW and NXT. We even talk about other news and stuff that goes around there. And then we also have our bracket bitches, where me and Soul and some other guests will break down. Hey, and we would love to have you all participate in those brackets so you can be along with the show. And then everything else we have is down below, which Tvshka is going to tell you about right now.
Yeah, just follow us at Ruckus EV everywhere. Also, don't forget the bye weeks coming up. We are in 11, so you are going to have your Cardinals, your Buccaneers, the Panthers, and the Giants on bye. So if you've got double stacks of Marvin Harrison Jr., Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, and Mike Evans, you are hurting this week very badly. So I'm trying to get some trades going. But no, other than that, just leave a like below. The Discord link is in the description, so join us there. We'd like to have a little bit of a ruckus time on the weekends. I know my gummy is already kicking in. Josh, you feeling pretty good? All right, man. We gotta get off, man. We got more trade talks to discuss.
We really do.
We really got to get it going. So you all have a good one. We'll see y'all.
They're on to me, dude. Those guys are sharp as nails up there. You can't put anything past them. Oh my god, dude, I'm freaking out. I am so stressed out. I feel like I'm having a panic attack.
You want to talk about stress? You want to talk about stress? Okay? I've stumbled onto a major company conspiracy pack. How about that for stress? Take a look at this. Jesus Christ. That right there is the mail. Now let's talk about the mail. Can we talk about the mail, please, Mac? I'm dying to talk about the mail with you all day, okay? Pepe Sylvia. This name keeps coming up over and over again. Every day, Pepe's mail getting sent back to me. Pepe Sylvia, Pepe Sylvia. I look at the mail. What's this whole box is Pepe Sylvia? All right, so I start marching my way down to Carol and HR, and I knock on her door and I say, Carol, I gotta talk to you about Pepe. Fine, you know what, Barney? Give this guy a cigarette. He's freaking out. Huh? Who? Barney. He's the guy who tipped me off to Pepe Sylvia. Barney? Who the hell is Barney? You don't see that? Oh shit! What the hell did he?